told? Man, I grew up in a broken home. I was forced to the streets. I ain't chose to roam. Family and money is the only thing I'm focused on. Down bad now, getting cheese like provolone. They talk down and wish I would fail. No letters, no visits, I was picked up in jail. Sticky green weighed out, had it fixed on a scale. They see the progress, it's funny how they wishing me well.
Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. What we're talking about. I'm the host Q's, and this is my second episode. And the topic of today is gonna be about a single parent home versus a two parent home. You know, this has been going on for years, for decades, and you know, they say it's better to have a two parent home than a single parent home. And you know, and I believe that, cause me, coming from a single parent home, it was hard, you know, as a mother. Okay, let me explain this to you. My father wasn't there, and my mother, she was partially there because she was indulgent. She was in the out there in the streets. Um, you know, so I really didn't have a woman can raise a man. A woman can raise a man. A man can raise a man. You know, and growing up in poverty, you know, growing up in poverty with trying to raise a man, and she's still in the streets, and my father wasn't around, so that made it real hard for me. Like, I didn't have I had brothers, right? But they was in the streets too, so it's like, to be honest, I didn't have a role model I can actually look up to and tell me, no, don't do those things. No, don't have kids by multiple women. Child support. Teach me about how to drive. I didn't have a male figure. Yes, my brothers, they taught me things, you know, but I didn't actually have a male figure that I actually looked up to and wanted to be like. My brothers, like I said, they was out in the streets doing what they was doing. Yes, they was teaching me the way, but they in and out. So I really didn't have, so it was hard for me, living under a single parent household, you know, and to put to it, she was, she was out in and out. So I really didn't have nobody I can look up to, or have that nurturing from the mom aspect, and had my father to look up to. So I had to learn from the streets, you know. So I just like to give y'all a little synopsis of my story every time at the beginning of my episodes, about the topic that's going on at hand. So back to the story, like, yeah, it was real hard for me. Like, I didn't have nobody to look up to. I didn't have that. So I had to go to the streets. Well, that's all I know. I was survival mode, and I would say a two parent home is definitely better than a one parent home. If they both there, if they both active in your life, and it's a happy, relationship between the two parent home. And, you know, it's like kids with that grew up in a two-parent home, they're more likely to go to college. They're more likely to get their degrees. They're more likely to be on the better road, the better path of life, and versus the kids with one parent homes, you know, and most of the time it'd be the mom at the one parent home. So, the kid's gonna be going through a lot. Violence and problematic in the streets and on drugs and like dropping out of school, like, you know what I mean? So, that's the kind of the ratio, of, you know, having a one parent home versus a two parent home, you know? So, yes, I would have rather been raised up in a two parent home, not just saying like whatever I learned, I learned from the streets, I learned here and there, I took pieces here and there, but even if you raised in a single parent home, that doesn't define your your outcome on life. That doesn't define your outcome on life. You know, you just gotta take it and flip it, embrace it, and then you gotta move to the next level with it. That doesn't determine your life because you was your upbringing was a single parent home, like, so you can change that. And uh but if it's a two parent home, if it's unhappy, it's I'd rather for my kids for them to live with single parent, like the mom live here, the dad live. I would rather do that than being together in one household if the family is, the parents are unhappy, because that can cause more stress, you know on the kid. You just don't want to bring your kid through so much stuff, that'll bring so much, what I mean, unhappy home, like y'all fighting and arguing. That can put trauma on the kid too, So I would rather live in a single parent home if I'd rather live in a single parent home than live in an unhappy two parent home, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like we not nowadays, back in the the 60s, the 50s, 60s and all that, you know, the ratio was more, because the woman would stay in the house, take care of the family, do whatever, and the men go out and take care of their family. So it was more of two parent homes back then. You know, then you get up into the I say 80s, all the way up. You know what I mean? We in 2025 right now, so you go all the way up. It's like it's dropping. It's more of single parent. Single parent mom, basically mostly, than two parent homes. You know what I mean? And let me tell y'all this. Um, they say they say a single parent father home is like equivalent to a two parent home. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, do your research. I'm telling you, because like mom, it's a difference there. Like, it's a difference. The mom, the dad's gonna make sure they the kids doing what they need to do. They gonna make sure they got them, lay down rules, you know what I mean? Everything. They're gonna make sure they got they're gonna just set standards and set grounds for the kids. You know, where so moms, you know, they really less lean on the kids. The kids is eventually gonna run over the mom, cause they let them do it since they was young. They let them talk to them any kind of way, or let them do things, not checking their phones, not the moms is the more lenient ones. So hey, well, this is coming up to be the end of the podcast. So you guys give me some down in the comments, guys. Come on, guys. Give me some stories. Give me anything down in the comment about 2 family homes versus 1 family home. You have any experiences with it? We could talk about it. Let's go. Put it down in the comments. You know what I mean? Welcome back. I'm going. This is my